BN2-20A isn't difficult to use, but you know what is very, very difficult? Learning how to add cut lines to your designs. When I first started, I had never used Adobe Illustrator. I had never used Photoshop. So learning how to add cut lines took me months. It took me months. I took a bunch of classes. I watched so many tutorials. You guys, I did everything possible and it still took me so long. So today I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to add your cut lines because I don't want it to take you months to learn. Before I show you though, I do want to show you the differences in between kiss cut and die cut stickers because there is a huge difference. These here are kiss cut stickers, and this tutorial will be the same for a lot of items that only need kiss cut cutting, kind of like HTV transfers. That one also uses the same kiss cut line. The other cut we have is die cut, but I'll be creating a separate tutorial to show you how to make die cut stickers later on. So let's start off by adding kiss cut lines to your stickers. Okay, so we are going to need to open up Photoshop and Illustrator. So let's start with Photoshop. So under Photoshop, we're going to add a new file. From here, you can select any size, as long as you select a transparent background. So let's go ahead and create. Then we're going to go ahead and file, open our image. I'm going to select this one under downloads. So here is my super cute image. And now we're going to create a second layer so we can add the cut lines. So my layers are down here on the right. You see where it says layers. Yours might be elsewhere. They might even be at the top. It just depends on your layout. But I have mine here at the bottom right. So under layers, we can go ahead and select layer 1 and drag it out. You see this little plus sign down here? This is going to actually create a second layer for us. So with layer 2, we're going to go ahead and add a color overlay. So click into it by double clicking. And here under color overlay, we can double click it and it'll take us to color overlay and it'll give us the details here. If it's your first time using color overlay, it might be a different color. I like to use this black silhouette. And then from here, we'll just hit OK. So here we have both of our layers. We'll come back down to layers. We're going to right click. We're going to right click and we're going to rasterize the layer style. That way we can copy and paste it over to Adobe Illustrator. So now we're going to select our copy layer. We're going to hit Command A and then Command C to copy everything. We'll go back to Illustrator. We'll create a new file. Any size will do as long as you have a transparent background. We'll go ahead and we'll create it. And now here I'm going to go ahead and copy my silhouette. I'm going to add a second layer. That way I can go back into Photoshop and select the colored layer. We'll hit Command A, Command C, and we'll go back into Illustrator and we'll paste it. Okay, after we've pasted both images, we just want to make sure they are directly on top of each other. And I like to keep my original image at the bottom. That way, when I'm editing the black silhouette, I can see exactly what's going on with it. So let's go ahead and select our black silhouette. From here, we're gonna go to the top on our menu and we're gonna go to Object. We're gonna select Object and we're gonna scroll all the way down to where it says Image Trace. And under Image Trace, we are going to hit Make and Expand. Now we're going to switch our cursor to direct selection, and you see this white outline. We don't actually need this white outline, so I'm going to double click so I click into it. Then I'm going to change to direct selection up here, and then I should be able to just drag it out. And we don't need these white outlines, so we can just delete them. We'll go back to our regular selection. Now let's go ahead and select our image. Let's just make sure we didn't miss anything. Okay, so you see right here, these little white images, we also don't want those. So let's pull those out. So let's pull those out as well. Okay, now we don't have any white, so we can move it back to the top of our colorful image. We can exit out of layer 2. We'll select our black silhouette. And then from here, we're going to switch the black fill. So you see how right now the image is filled with black? We only want that outline to have a color. So we're going to come over here to the left, and you see these two. This is fill and stroke. Under fill and stroke, we're going to click these little two arrows to swap the fill and the stroke. That way we only have a black outline. So if I come here back to layers, and I hide our colorful image, you see how we just have that outline now? That's exactly how we want it. So again, that was here on the left. Okay, now from here, we can go to object, and this part is optional. It just depends if you want to offset or not. I love to use offset on my stickers. So we'll scroll down to path. We'll select offset path. And depending on how big you want it, you can switch it here. So right now, my units are in PT. I don't like to use PT. I'm used to using inches. So we'll hit cancel. We'll go to help. We'll type in units. And we can change this here to inches. And then we'll hit OK. So then we can go back to object, path, and offset path. That is still so big. I'm gonna do 0.1. I feel like that looks good. So we'll just hit OK. Now, the other thing to keep in mind here is that sometimes that initial layer, you see how, okay, so let me move it. That way you could see what I'm talking about. You see how there's two lines? When you add an offset, we're basically adding the second line. So anytime you add offset, we'll go back to direct selection, and we're gonna click the first layer, and we're just gonna delete it. And then from here, you can decide if you want your BN2 to cut in between these lines. If you don't want it to, again, we can just double click it and delete it. But that's really just a personal preference as to how you like your stickers. Now from here, we're going to select our outline. You're going to open up your swatches. So I already have them open. If you didn't have them open, again, what I love about help is we can just type in whatever we want to open, and it will actually show us where it is. If you're new to Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, I feel like this feature is just so helpful because there are just so many options, so many settings that you can go through, and it can get a little overwhelming. So just being able to click on it just really makes all the difference. So these will not be kiss cut stickers, so we're going to add our pink lines, and that's how we add our cut lines. Now what we want to do is we want to edit our artboard. So it's this little button here on the left. We're going to click it, and we are just going to update the sizing to make sure that our entire image is in here, but we also don't want too much space, and that's pretty close. So we can go ahead and export it as so. Export as. We're just gonna name this our bow drink, and we'll export it. Export that PDF. Perfect. And then from here, we can go back into VersaWorks. We can add our new file. We'll just select the bow drink PDF. Then from here, we can double click into it. I like to go to clip and tile because I feel like that just gives you a better look. If you forgot to edit your artboard, here is where you could make that smaller, bigger, depending on what you needed to. So then under layout, we'll just get the media width. We'll size the sticker as we'd like. I think I just want to do a 3-inch sticker. Depending on how many copies you want, you can update that here. Depending too on the orientation. I normally like to have them this way, and I'll just fill it. And that looks pretty good. And then from here, we can just hit OK and send it to print. Okay, we sent that to cut, so we're just gonna wait for the bottom plate to heat up. And here we go. So the Roland is going to print our image first. Let's see if we can find a good angle where you can see that. I feel like it's so hard because of the glass, but it's printing. There we go, it's done printing. So now it's just going to feed it out. That way the ink can dry. And now our machine is cutting our stickers. Can you see that better? Okay, the BN2-20A is done cutting, and I did my sheet cut at the end, so we should be able to just pull these off. Ah, super cute. So because these are only kiss cut, we won't be able to pull them from the back because, again, the blade only cut through the vinyl and not the actual backing. So now we can go ahead and just pull the top vinyl off. And here we have our stickers. And that brings us to the end of our Kiss Cat Cut Line sticker tutorial. If you have any questions, if you feel like I went too fast, if something just didn't make sense, make sure to let me know in the comment section. Guys, learning how to add cut lines is definitely a learning process, but I promise that the more you do it, the more comfortable you're gonna get. And I know when you're first starting, it's really intimidating, especially if you had not used Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop. If you haven't used any of those applications, I know it is very, very difficult, but I promise that the more you practice, the easier it'll come to you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you liked this tutorial or found it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Up next, I'll be working on a die cut cutting line tutorial for you, so don't forget to like and subscribe.